Hello everyone, welcome to the very first episode of Analysis Paralysis. Today we will take a look at how we can invest in SGS bonds at a substantial discount. SGS stands for Singapore Government Securities, and as the name suggests, SGS bonds are bonds issued by the Singapore government which are fully backed by the government. This means that when you invest in SGS bonds, the Singapore government promises to pay you back your money with interest. SGS bonds are very low risk, with major international rating agencies giving the Singapore government a AAA credit rating, which is the safest rating there is. It is the lowest risk investment you can find in Singapore, and it is even safer than putting your money in a bank account. If you have seen the kind of crazy moves that the financial markets have experienced in recent weeks, I'm sure you appreciate that there is a place in anyone's portfolio for low-risk, high-quality investments like the SGS bond. The problem is, we live in a very low interest rate environment, and the returns that you will get from investing in SGS bonds right now is not fantastic. Right now, SGS bonds are only paying out interest rates of between 0.5 to 1.4% per year. So while it is a low-risk investment, the returns on that investment is really low as well. But what if I told you that there is a way to enhance your returns and buy SGS bonds at a 40% discount? This is not a scam, and it's not just a clickbait. In fact, what I'm talking about is a very mundane thing that you probably have already heard about: making a top-up to your CPF. The money in your CPF are invested in a special class of SGS bonds that pays out between 2.5% to 6% interest per year, depending on which accounts they're in, how much you have in your CPF accounts, and how old you are. But for this video, we will base our analysis on the 4% interest rate, which is the basic interest you receive on your balance in MediSave, special, and retirement accounts. The 4% interest rate that you receive in these three accounts is about 2.6% higher than the interest rate you currently get on a normal 20-year SGS bond. An extra 2.6% may not sound like a lot, but when interest rates are low, 2.6% can make a huge difference. For example, if we invest $100 into the SGS 20-year bond, we will be paid $1.40 in interest payments every year. But if we invest in our CPF instead at 4% interest rate, we only have to invest $35 in order to get $1.40 of interest in year one. So investing into CPF allows us to score a 65% discount on the amount of capital needed in order to get the same interest payment. Unfortunately, that is not the end of the story, because although we can immediately spend the interest that we earn from an SGS bond, the interest that we earn from CPF is locked up until we are at least 55 years old. So when we compare a normal SGS bond to our CPF money, we're not really comparing apples to apples. To get around that, let's use another example where we artificially line up the cash flow. Let's say we invest $100 into the 20-year SGS bond, and the all interest payments from the bond are reinvested at 1.4% interest, which is what the SGS 20-year bond is paying out right now. At the end of 20 years, when the bond matures, our initial $100 investment would have grown into $132. In comparison, in order to get $132 in our CPF account in 20 years' time, we would only have to top up a little over $60 today into CPF accounts that are paying out 4% interest. So that works out to be about a 40% discount on the SGS bond. So if you have spare cash lying around and is thinking of how best to invest it, topping up your CPF isn't a bad choice. I hope this video helped you to understand how powerful a few extra percentage points of interest can be when we live in a low interest rate environment, and how topping up your CPF can help you earn a much higher rate of return on the risk-free SGS bonds that otherwise would be impossible. Before I end this video, however, I need to remind you that investing extra cash in CPF is not for everyone. Even if there is very little chance that you will lose money by topping up your CPF, you may run into an emergency or an opportunity before you become eligible to withdraw from CPF, in which case you might wish that you didn't lock up your money in CPF prematurely. So before you make any investment decision, make sure you do your own homework, understand what you're doing, and speak to a financial advisor if necessary. That's it for today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.